Oh my goodness, is that 2 Elder Scrolls readings in 1 week? It is. Now it's time for Fool's Ebony, part the 5th. Our roguish dark elf, the adventurer, has plummeted before our stunned eyes. From the king of the spider web of intrigue to a pathetic, crawling lump of Argonian excrement. In the quest for Fool's Ebony, that substance that all would kill for, the adventurer attempted to play mage against priest with the help of the merchant Nephrin. Alas, that is to say, alack a day, the 5 armorers have trapped Nephrin and the adventurer and taken over their scheme. The whole King Ortho now watches the adventurer's every move. But I get that feeling. To be honest, don't you? That beneath the adventurer's defeated quivering jelly lurks a jungle cat of such cunning and resource to shatter all of his enemies when the time is right. Of course, I could be wrong. I see one of the priests of Akatosh, who believes himself a friend of the adventurer. I, prologue, must away.
Evening there, may I mind if I join you?
Well, since you already have, no. And where is our esteemed brother Common to this chill evening? You mean you haven't heard? Oh, I guess you have been busy with the preparations? Right, very busy. And then let me tell you, oh, what a bad business. What trouble, oh dear. Well, you doubtless recall that poor Common had this, problem. Overwork, of course. Oh, yes, you fellows do work exceedingly hard, it seems to me. Well, recall how Common left, somewhat erratically, as it were, and made off with that young blonde under the lamppost outside. Well, in his state of confusion, he grabbed the wrong blondie. Oh my, indeed, the wrong one. Well, they all look pretty much the same to me, but of course I do not look too hard. Oh my, well, to cut a short tale to the bone, old Common grabbed a Contessa, who had thought to disguise herself. Oh dear. Well, did she get away? Did they catch Common? What happened? Well, old Common, tipsy as he was quick as spit in a gale, eluded all pursuit, took the lady to a small private retreat house that we have. Oh, dear me. Well, the city guards, palace guards, a half a dozen royals, all caught up with Common 3 days later. 1 day too late for the poor Contessa. I hear that they had a hard time locating all the bits and pieces. What the fuck? Common was there, passed out cold, and another body, some common blonde lamppost girl, and by now he is cold. Permanently, most likely at the bottom of the bay. Oh, well, it serves the Contessa right, coming down to this area, but I suppose there are repercussions. Evening, Laban. Evening, adventurer, and... Mia Mortho. Yes, charmed. And Laban, you indeed have my sympathies. If there is anything we can do, our Temple of Julianos, that is... But really, you should have kept Common on a tighter leash, or preferably a noose. Hello, Rake, and hello to you, Stet. How's your sister? Oh, she's great. Yes, I know. Oh, the repercussions. Do you know that the priests of Akatosh at Daggerfall Castle, Wayrest Palace, and just about everywhere else have all been thrown out? That the royal tax exemption for the chantry has been revoked? That the Akatosh chantry has just received a past due taxes bill? Oh my. Well, I suppose we could help somewhat, maybe. Maybe a small loan from Julianos for that tax bill? With, say, a temple as security? Oh, are not the taxes based on the number of the priests of Akatosh? So maybe the school of Julianos could take over a significant number. Reduce your tax bill. You realize that is not the best time for this, but just as we need a lot of funds for that expedition that I'm arranging for you. Oh, I am so sorry about Common, but yes, maybe if good brother Rake could, I hate to say this, take over a greater share of the financial burden. In return, of course, for considerations. Like a good number of permanently loaned priests, a long look at your books, at your cellar, your name lists, a temple as security on our loan, and of course, a bigger cut in the proceeds of this expedition. Name of your, suppliers? Oh, I foresaw something like this. Talked a bit about it with old Mucky Muck. Livid he was. But as I am a senior brother, he finally authorized me to, and I quote, take care of it. Those weren't his exact words, mind you. But it was a bit longer and much more explicit, but the gist at least. Of course, Laban. And I say if we are successful, why then you could easily get back into good graces at the palace. Merely sell them the goods as a good low rate, with first refusal on any shipment you have. What's one contested to them anyway? Yes, that could work. Worth a try, but how? Royals will not talk to anyone from the Akatos Chantry now. Leave that to me. I can make approaches to certain ones. Yes, I can probably persuade them to let up on the Chantry in return for future favors. Oh, how can I thank you? Well, I need a fair amount of gold to finish setting up my little trip. Maybe 10,000. Special horses, reinforced carts, cartiers, guards, the list goes on. And the cost of keeping our little trip quiet is really quite high. Well, yes, we can afford it, I guess. You do have the map now, don't you? I know we can afford 8,000 gold, given the potential profits. Rest easy, it's all here in my cloak. Show you in a bit. I've also managed to hire some good young hefty fellows like old Ortho here to manage the carts, dig and load, act as guards, and so on. Oh, good. I can relax a bit. Oh my, the fellows back at the Chantry will be so relieved. We really owe you. The Brotherhood does. Oh, I mean the Akatos Chantry, of course. Brotherhood? What about our sisterhood? Eh? Well, Rake, what about you and the school? How much are you good for? The extra 2,000? And maybe some more. Always lots of last-minute expenses on a trip like this, you know? Well, now, since seem to be getting a whole sect of priests and other considerations, certainly. Well, gentlemen, and Stet, here it is. Oh, by the arms of Zenithar, did I ever have to work hard for this? Those cagey mages, but in the end, they're just greedy old fools. Oh, just in case you or your head priest hasn't seen the goods, here's a sample. Play with it. Thank you. You know, I must admit I had some doubts, dealing with a stranger, so on. No more, partner. Good. Say, you fellows ever hear this one? What's a priest keep under his robe? His sister. You know, I fear that by the way, they beat Stet unconscious, in case you were wondering. Stet got what was deserved. You know, I fear that we really have to do something about young Stet here. His sister thing. Ugh. Yes, he could be another common. Just what we don't need. This sister of his, does she really exist? Oh my, oh yes. I know her well. I mean, we often have seen her. I think, brother, that she should be made to see the error of her ways, so she is no longer an influence on Stet. What the fuck? Yes, most certainly. A somewhat debilitable theological point. Oh, please, excuse the technical discussion here, Rake. Rake, if we are to make her see the errors, well, how shall I put it? We first have to know just what the ways are, correct? Indeed, an astute observation. So you're suggesting that in a nut, we should first determine her ways, so as to be able to show her the errors? What am I reading? This was in a game. Precisely. Mind you, a difficult, arduous, tiring project, I fear. One that will take all our will and energy. True, but challenging, eh? take all our time, but then we shall have some time while the friend, the adventurer here, is off hauling and carting. And I, personally, would feel far safer if we were in retreat, maybe, studying the ways. Yeah, be a good idea for you to maybe disappear for a while, of course. Cut down the chances of a rival faction catching on or catching you. Oh, wait, that was me. Yeah, be a good idea for you two to maybe disappear for a while, of course. Cut down to the chances of a rival faction catching on or catching you. Very well, Laban. Why don't you and I take his sister off with us on a theological retreat, as it were? Say the ways and details and so on. We could go to that unused little temple up on the shoulder of Edward's Mountain. Out of the way, quiet, doors locks, thick walls, a big cellar. Good. It is settled then. A theological retreat. Oh, goody. Of course, once we know the ways in detail, we can, of course, tell old Hi Monkey Muck and let him take care of the showing of the errors. Yes, that would improve his mood quite a bit. Then it's agreed. Let's start, say, day after tomorrow. Yes, adventurer. Yes, adventurer, why don't I meet you at, that horrid ugly statue of, what on Tamriel is it? A harpy and a gargoyle. Something silly like Vendigao and her lover, or some such, up in the northwest corner of the town. Oh, and can I keep the map? Sure, keep it. I have a copy. And you will pass me a small bag there at that nasty statue. Have it all ready for you. Say 10 o'clock sharp. Oh, Laban, another thought about young Stet here. He really needs some seasoning in the field, one might say. No! Good point. I know the priest who handles field assignments is coming by tomorrow. We could arrange an educational assignment for Stet. Very good, but where? Winter's coming soon. There's a vacancy up in Solitude, far north of Skyrim, I believe. Night collections at street corners or some such. Very good. Come on, Laban. We have accounts to work on. Good night to you then, adventurer. 10 tomorrow morning. Have to arrange some supplies, leather rope, holy wine, lots of that pink powder. I prefer the green myself. Well, excellent. Went just as I said it would. Got 5,000 gold from them, and thanks to your work with that Contessa, we have the screws on the chantry. And the School of Julianos is going to be otherwise engaged on a theological retreat. More like a sanguine retreat. And those mages, Shub and Shub, seem to have disappeared. So we're set. Yep. You can come over by my warehouse tomorrow afternoon. Have the heavy carts waiting. And Ortho! Oh, yes. Must not forget you fellows. How kind of you to volunteer your services. Tomorrow, then. Well, we only have one part left to this play, and I've run out counting the number of loose strings. Either part the 6th is going to be 8 hours long, or we're going to leave some parts unsolved. I, for one, hope that they don't chose to drop the character of the wanton Contessa. For Geoffrey's sake, she's been on the dramatis personae since part the 1th. Well, nobody leave your seat. Your gold will not be refunded, and any gold you can spare tipped to your friendly wenches will be greatly appreciated. We just have a quick costume change and a set to put together, and we'll be back. In the meanwhile, enjoy our bard's rendition of the Nordic classic, Alas, the Fleeting Years Glide By. So endeth part the 5th.